Yeah, let's do that. So I'll give it a few seconds and then I'll just kick it off. Hopefully, the fan in the background isn't making too much noise, but that's what we're gonna do. So this is kind of an impromptu stream. There is no rhyme or reason behind this stream, other than I just want to have a conversation. I also don't expect this stream to be entirely long either. So I'm gonna just get into what I want to say, and then if the chat pops up and people want to talk, that's cool. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to acknowledge the chat, at least for this first part of the video. The first part of the video, I just kind of want to talk. But I do need to make sure I have the right chat open, which I can't do until I have the video actually playing. And then I can go up here and change it. Because this National Dex thing has just gotten pretty fucking insane. So yeah, like I said, I'm not going to really address the chat, at least for the first little bit, because I kind of want to get my thoughts and opinions out, and I can't do that. Oh, it's already up. Cool. All right, so it already is getting the text. So we're good. All right, we're good. So I can just kind of start talking. All right, so here's the thing. Before this video starts, I want to just get it. I want to get the base understanding of what this is, what this video is, out of the way now. And the first thing I want to say is that this video, if you were a person who has already decided that I'm not getting the game because they don't have a feature that I want, which in this case would be primarily the ability to trade every Pokemon from an older generation, including Megas, whatever, to Galar. If that is enough of a deal breaker for you personally, and you don't want to get the game and you want to boycott the game, that's perfectly fine. That in itself is fine. I am not. This video is not to change anyone's mind in terms of that, because if that is a deal breaker for you, it's going to maintain being a deal breaker. This video is what I would consider extra shit. Like, put it this way: let's say you were grading Gamefreak, you had a test out, and Gamefreak was the student, and you marked it a 0 because of the National Dex stuff, the fact that you can't trade over all Pokemon from previous generations to this one. The test is already in. The failure's in. The 0 is there. We can't do nothing about that because you've already made your decision. That's why I say this video isn't about that, and it's about changing those people's minds. What this is the conversation afterwards. The 0 is permanent. The 0 ain't going nowhere. We're just having a conversation, because the reality is that people have already made their line in the sand already. But the problem is that even the ones who said no, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to buy into a game that's like this. You still want to get the game. That's the reason why this is perpetuating. That's the reason why every time Pokemon tweets anything, you get the bring back the National Dex hashtag. Because even if you've already made your line in the sand, you still want the game. That's the irony of it all. So I want to talk about that. So pretty much this is like an afterthought discussion. It's a discussion that won't really change minds, but it's a conversation to have, because at the end of the day, it doesn't have to. I mean, reality, it's not my job to sell Sword and Shield to you. It's Game Freak and Nintendo's job to sell Sword and Shield to you. So that's not what this is. So I kind of want to just talk about a few things. All right, so the first thing is a lot of people are still screaming out. That's also the reason why you get a bunch of these videos where the young 3D animators are going out of their way to prove a point that if I can do it, then they can do it. I can make these rigs and animate these Pokemon. Why can't you do it? Even though it's been obvious that a lot of fan projects can outshine their console counterparts in a lot of ways, but it doesn't have necessarily the same level of polish. But whatever, it's besides the point. The point I'm trying to make is this. A lot of people are like, oh, well, they should just delay the game. And the one thing I think a lot of people missed in my last video was that Pokemon, unfortunately, is under the umbrella of this Pokemon company. And the Pokemon company is the main reason why they would never heavily delay a game. And honestly, I don't think Game Freak needs to take a year break to work on Sword and Shield. They need like 3 years off, in my opinion. A lot of people, and I've been saying this for a while now, Pokemon has started to become very homogenized because there's a game that comes out every year, and every main generation usually goes this way. Usually it starts off with your main 2 games of a generation, possibly a third version, and then a remake of some sort. Maybe not in that order. Maybe the remake becomes before the third version, but the point is that it's usually 2 main games, a third version, and a remake. Now, I think Gamefreak has also come to terms and learned that the third version of these games don't sell that well. That's the reason why, if you looked, for one, you can see the sales for all the third versions of the games, but that's also the reason why, starting with Generation 5, they started trying to change how they marketed this stuff. For example, in Black and White, they turned it into a sequel, Black and White 2. Gen 6, they didn't even bother. And in Gen 7, they made like alternate dimension versions of the game. So like, that's been their way of like trying to make the third version more interesting. But it really comes down to the reality, like people are like, Pokemon fans deserve better. And I'm like, in some ways I agree, in some ways I don't. Pokemon Game Freak is the only company that is allowed to do that many consistent remakes and no one have an issue with it. When in any other franchise, people will look at that and go, that's fucking ridiculous. To have a remake of a previous generation, every generation. Every gen got a remake in some shape or form, even if it, well, not every gen, but every console got a remake of some shape or form. And part of the reason why I think a lot of people didn't care, though, was the fact that up until Oris, every remake was a better version of that generation. Like, no one would recommend the original Red, Blue, and Yellow over Fire Red and Leaf Green because Fire Red and Leaf Green were objectively better games. And that was true all the way up until Oris, where I still would say Generations Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald are better games than Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. That's the only remake I inherently disagree with. Thank you for the mustache comment. But the point I'm trying to get across here is that Pokemon needs to take a break, but they will never be able to take a break as long as the Pokemon company wants to keep doing things the way they're doing. There was a good video I saw that kind of outlined some other issues going into this. And one of the things is that the mainline Pokemon games aren't the biggest sellers for the Pokemon company. They make more money off the anime, they make more money off the trading cards, they make more money off of the merchandise. The games, which kills me, I would say the games probably make the least amount of money, but also are the biggest driving force of everything else. You can't have a new anime season without a new generation of Pokemon. You can't have new trading cards without a new generation of Pokemon. So it's crazy to me that the games are like a cornerstone of this company, but like literally get the least amount of leniency. And that's because everything hinges on the games. You can't come out with new plushies for Pokemon that don't exist yet. You can't come out with new trading cards unless you have new Pokemon to base the trading cards on or new characters. So they are stuck to this homogenized schedule. And in some ways, I think it's the company's fault. I also think it's the fans' fault. Because let's be real, people want to act like this was the generation where things got bad. Things have been kind of bad for a while now. People, like, I personally like Sun and Moon, but I know a lot of people weren't that big of fans of it, especially during the whole tutorial sections and how easy the game was and everything. I would say Generation 6 is the worst modern generation we've had. I think that game to me is a waste of time in a lot of fucking ways. But a lot of people excused it because it's the first 3D title in the series. Doesn't make it a good game. It still wasn't a good game, except when you go on VG charts, it's one of the highest selling Pokemon titles. But my X and Y is one of the highest selling gens. And it's because of the selling point that it's the first 3D game. But it was fucked up then. Remember, you got the terrible frame rates that persisted through all of Generation 6 and 7. None of those games ran fine. Some of them ran better in certain types of battles. Like Horde battles is what killed Sun and Moon a lot. But like most of them can run okay normally. A lot of people would say things about the Megas, but I think Megas were a broken fucking mechanic that made the games even worse. Like people want to talk about gimmicks and how they're sick of some of the gimmicks, but like you still want Megas back. And Megas were unbalanced as fuck. Certain Megas And like I said, having a spaced out development cycle would make me get excited for the new games more. Like, there is no franchise that comes out every year that everyone's like, yo, I'm so excited for this new game. And I think the Pokemon Company doesn't understand that. That spacing out the titles can get people more excited. And by proxy, you get better games. Because if you have more development time, of course, then they can put in all the features they want to. But when you make it where they're constantly working on titles, eventually something's going to break. And I know a lot of people also brought up the whole, well, they need to stop development on town. No, they do not. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, town's development's part of the issue. No, if anything, town is helping them. Giving Game Freak the ability to make other games keeps them fresh. Because everyone needs a break. If you make me work on Pokemon for 20 years, guess what? I'm going to get tired of Pokemon. And people want to act like, oh, it's not the Pokemon Company. The Pokemon Company is terrible in all avenues, by the way. When it comes to streaming, in terms of anime, if you're an anime fan, you are of the Pokemon anime, you know Pokemon is one of the few animes you can never watch in Japanese legally because the Pokemon Company refuses to acknowledge, at least in the other states, that the series is originally Japanese. That's why you have to have an English dub, and even the DVDs can't have the subtitles on it. We've gone so far in the anime industry, and that's the struggle. Is the audio out of sync? If it is, let me know. Oh, is that a sync? Okay, then I got an idea. What we're gonna do. Okay. Shouldn't be out of sync now. That kind of fucking sucks because I didn't want it to be like that. A lot of people, when it comes to the animations, because I know a lot of people wanted to, and honestly, like I said, that was terrible PR on Game Freak's part. Game Freak had terrible PR when it came to this. They shouldn't have said, because I think they couldn't say what they really wanted to say. But that's a personal opinion. I don't know that for a fact, but I think that's what it is. The audio sync should be fixed now. But what I was gonna say was, sorry, I got distracted. When it comes to the animation argument, people act like the animations, for one, you can't compare. For one, these are two different developers, by the way. Like N64 developers and Genius Sorority and Intelligent Systems did those, and they had less Pokemon to do. They had less Pokemon all around to do. Like, Stadium only did, what, the first 250 in total, if you're talking about Stadium 2. And in Japan, they didn't even do that. In Japan, the first game was, like, super cut down and basic. It wasn't until, like, the Americans got Stadium 2 that, like, Japan got the full version of the game. And Pokemon Battle Revolution, they were only dealing up to Gen 4. Pokemon seemed to be pretty good about keeping up until we hit about Gen, I want to say 6, 7. 6 and 7 is when it became a struggle for them. Because they didn't reuse the animations at all from those other games. The other thing is that you also got to think about game design and balance. Speedy moves and more animations for Pokemon moves means that you want those to be shown off. But you can't really show those off if you also want the game to be quick. It's a hard balancing act. And like I said, if Pokemon really needed development time, they should have took the delay. But they can't take the delay because Pokemon Company refuses to fuck with their own schedule. Think about it. Like, if Game Freak took a delay on Sword and Shield, that means that everything has to take a delay. And I think that's the core of it. I think Pokemon Company doesn't want that delay to happen. Pokemon's like, well, fuck, that means we got to delay the trading cards and the plushies and the anime. We're not going to do that. And that's the problem. They are not willing to take that hit for the sake of the game being better because the game doesn't make that much money anyway. Think about it. Pokemon Go amassed a ridiculous amount of money in a very short period. And the main games have been losing sales over time. They haven't been gaining. Some games are kind of like outliers, but for the most part, it's become not like a steep drop off, but a slow. Hold on a second. Sorry, it was trying to filter out one of the comments, and I didn't want that to happen. But it's become like a slow drop off, and just like Madden, just like NBA, just like Call of Duty, eventually that shit just kind of falls in on itself. And I think that's the reason why. But I also think, and this is getting into the fans, as fans, we've put up with a lot of mediocrity and didn't say a goddamn thing about it. Because people should have said shit to Gamefreak in Gen 6. No one said a goddamn thing. People should have said shit to them in Gen 7. No one said a goddamn thing. People let Let's Go slide. No one said a goddamn thing. No one made an outcry. But it wasn't until Generation 8. You allowed mediocrity, and myself included, because I bought those games. I bought Gen 6. I bought Gen 7. I didn't buy Let's Go Pikachu because that's a bunch of bullshit. Eventually, and that's what's going to happen. Eventually, you start burning the customer enough to where the shit drops off. But see, then the situation is like this. Then it's like, well, if the games don't sell, well, the games just end up becoming more and more homogenized. Eventually, they don't care. But I think the problem is the Pokemon company doesn't understand that it's important for the games to still be good. Because I don't care about an adaptation of an anime if the games aren't good. Don't automatically hold messages for review. Damn it. Yeah, if you say shit, apparently it blocks the comment, which kind of sucks, and I can't unblock it off of the live chat. Damn it. I'll probably worry about it on the replay. It's fine. So that's part of the issue. But the other problem is that the fans bought into a bunch of bullshit. And we should have been saying no a while ago. But, you know, we as the new generation. This is probably the reason why I kept saying that I was cool with Game Freak not making new Pokemon for a while. See, I enjoyed Gen 7. I know some people didn't, but I enjoyed Gen 7. There were a bunch of terrible practices for a while that no one said shit to, but it was for some reason, it's the ability to trade Pokemon that broke the camel's back. No, it was Wandering Soul. Lightning, you didn't block it. I'm just saying it was Wandering Soul's comment that got blocked. But yeah, it wasn't like, hold on a second. Yeah, don't say shit. If you say shit, it blocks it automatically. But there were terrible practices going on before this, and we bought into it like a bunch of fucking sheep. Game Freak has had terrible practices just off of the idea of remaking generations every generation. The fact that people are still screaming about Gen 4 remakes is stupid. I can't miss a generation if you keep bringing it up. Why do you think there's a good portion of the fan base that's tired of Generation 1? Because they remade it so many times. And it was already a part of Generation 2. So I kept doing it. All right. You're killing yourself. Stop typing shit. You're being ridiculous. If people need to understand what really needs, what the best thing for Pokemon is to take a 3-year break. Because it'll help the franchise get refreshed. It gives them time of not working on anything. And I understand there's different groups in Game Freak. I understand that Game Freak has different teams. Like certain teams are working on one thing and other teams are working on other. Like a lot of people have said that Sword and Shield's been worked on back since 2014 or 2013? I forget which. No, was it that far back? I don't remember. But the problem is working on a game that far back in advance creates a whole nother... The problem is you can't really start developing new ideas. Especially because back in 2013, 2014, the Switch wasn't out yet. So what was the game? The game you were working on was probably still being making for a handheld. So and people don't realize that. If Sword and Shield has been thought about and worked on since Generation uh, since Generation 6. That means they were still thinking of 3DS shit, which is a problem. So the only legit time they've had to focus on Switch development was probably around 2017, maybe 2016, which is 3 years. And then they were also had their other team working on Let's Go. Game Freak needs more time. If you want better games, Game Freak needs more time. But I think that unfortunately boils down to the true issue, because I don't think the true issue is Game Freak. The true issue is the Pokemon Company. The Pokemon Company has to be willing to give Game Freak more time, and I don't think they're going to do it. I think the fan base also needs to recognize that we are a part of the problem. We bought a bunch of fucking mediocre ass games. We bought into them for like one or two things: new Pokemon and new meta. That's it. Now, do I still want Sword and Shield? Fuck yes, I still want Sword and Shield, because for me, Sword and Shield looks way better than fucking Gen 7 or 6. I don't think it'll be up to the standard of Gen 5, but god damn it, it will be an improvement. I also think that this is important to say. Gamers do not know what they want all the time. Gamers think they know what they want, and that's what pisses me off. I feel like the shit thing has now become like a meme in this chat, where people just want to say shit for the hell of saying shit. I'm also curious of Lightning, since you're a moderator, if you can fix that. Yeah, they had no faith in the Switch. That was the other thing. Game Freak didn't have any faith in the Switch. So they probably didn't even work on it as long as they did, because they were like, I'm still gonna make a 3DS game. I think Sword and Shield was probably still meant to be a 3DS title, and then when the Switch started making money and started doing well, then they were like, well, fuck, man, I guess we do need to make it as a core game. And that's just a guess, though. That's a theory. But getting back to the point I was making before about how I think gamers don't know what they want. I don't think gamers know what they want, because there's been a bunch of games that are willing to take risks and potentially burn fans for the sake of pushing a series forward. And I think the two things that need to go is that if the model situation is so bad for the way the games have to be right now, don't focus on all the models. I don't think that's that big of a deal. People act like, I understand, and what pisses me off is that the fan base is so concerned about this emotional attachment and catching them all, which was always ridiculous to me, or just using them in the post game. Like I said, the national deck system is a terrible system, because if you cared about using your Pokemon from Generation 1 in the main game, you had to wait until you beat the main game to use them. And I think Game Freak came to the same reasoning a lot of fans have already come to. That ain't really that fun, especially considering the post games have been pretty weak as of late. So what the hell do I care that I can't use my jump pluff? Oh wow! What the fuck? Whoa, that caught me. Whoa, shit. Thank you for the super chat. Holy shit. Whoa. Juto 2007. Oh my god. Wow. Wow. Sorry, it caught me off guard. I was in the middle of this passionate rant, and the fucking super chat blew me the fuck away. Whoa! See, this is how you know I don't get super chats often. That shit's amazing to me. I know people like fucking Etika was get donations all the time. Like the high profile YouTubers get donations all the time. That's how you can tell I don't get donations like that. Thank you, Jesus Christ. Whoa, fuck. Hold on a second. Thank you, Juto. I really appreciate it. Fuck. Stop. See, yeah, we're making the thing is I can still see the shit comments, or the moderators can. So thank you, Melvin and Lightning If you can catch the shit comments, allow the shit comments to go through. I think that's YouTube trying to be PC. I wouldn't be surprised if this video gets demonetized because I've cursed too much. Oh, the fuck well. What was I saying, though? I lost my place completely. The $100 donation caught me off guard. Damn it. Hold on a second. But what was I saying? I was saying, to me, the National Dex fiasco, regardless if it's trading all older Pokemon to other gens or just the National Dex in general, to me, that to me isn't that important to where I can take a hit from that if it means a better game. Now, the fact still remains to be seen if, you mean PC, not PG, PC, Lightning. But the fact remains if Sword and Shield is going to be a better game due to this change. God, I hope it is. But there are still old features that need to get taken the fuck out. I think the Ride Pokemon mechanic is cool because it promotes exploration, but the game has to change for that exploration to mean anything. What I specifically mean by that is the wild area is a very good step in the right direction, but if the rest of the game is still like the same homogenized Gen 6, Gen 7 kind of limited routes, it doesn't really mean that much to have Riot Pokemon. The Riot Pokemon feature I think is cool. Having the ability to have kind of like the pseudo HMs. The original idea I think I had back in Gen 5 is instead of having Riot Pokemon, have every Pokemon have the ability to have real world moves. For example, Machamp would still have his 4 main moves, but he would also have like 4 real world moves that wouldn't take up a fucking attack slot. And the real world moves can only be used real world. So like something to break, something like Rock Smash or Strength or Cut. Those would be things that Pokemon can just naturally do and you wouldn't need a move for. Because I like the idea. I think Pokemon used to be about exploration and that died as the gyms move forward. And it's the same issue I think Nintendo had with Mario. How do I make the game accessible, but also increase the interest in how do I make the game still easy to understand, but also still have like long-lasting appeal? I didn't get $320 in donations. Where did you get that number from, Lightning? I haven't gotten $320 in donations. It's only $100. And I think that's the problem Game Freak's having, because it's harder for Game Freak because Pokemon's such heavily focused in on children. So how do I make a game that's still like easy to understand, but still has that element of exploration for the rest of the fan base? And I think they started taking hints from Zelda. They just didn't double down on it because they're afraid. And you can tell that's what it is. They're afraid of how the fan base is receiving it. And I feel like that's the more important issue, is how their level design changes, not the fact that not all 800 Pokemon can't be traded into the game, or 1,000 depending on how many they make in this generation. That's my issue. I haven't been interested in a Digimon game in years, but and I think that's the core issue. And so it drives me nuts that this game is trying to move into the right directions. Yeah, but Lightning, you haven't done it in a while, yo. I mean, there's no problem with it. I'm just saying it's been so long. It hasn't really, what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, I appreciate the donations, Lightning, but I mean, it's just been a while. That money is already kind of come and gone. And that's not even including donations I was probably getting beforehand, which weren't many. Like the Patreon donations, I think, to me, hit harder because that was consistent people giving money. And some people are still giving me money every month for Patreon. And I feel like I haven't even led up to those expectations. So it's hard. But I got to move. I don't really understand the graphics. Pokemon has never been a graphical powerhouse. I don't understand. Like, people are like, oh, the wild area doesn't look good. Well, it's the first open world area they're doing in the game. Why do you think the actual, like, cities look way denser? If you notice everyone's criticism of fucking If you notice, everyone's criticisms of the graphics have only been the wild area, which would probably be the worst looking area in the game because it's such a large open field with a bunch of shit in it. Also, the game is still being worked on. The game hasn't gone gold yet, so I always thought it was ridiculous for that. But like, if you've seen just the footage of the towns and routes, the towns and routes look way fucking better. But people are sitting here sweating the goddamn graphics of a tree in the wild area, which is probably the roughest looking area in the game. But that's fine. That's whatever. Pokemon panders to the older fan base. I don't think they care. They don't really focus on us. They pander to us because it's an easy way. Like with kids, is Pokemon in general is like an automatic, like, I'm at least looking at the game from children. But for adults, it's harder to pull us in. So what do? You pander to the old school fans. That's the whole point of the remakes and the pandering to older generations. Why do you think I couldn't stand the fucking Gen 6 so much? Because Gen 6 was so like, I know you're an older Pokemon fan, but I know the generation you loved. The generation you loved was Generation 1. And I'm like, yeah, at a point, and then you kept talking and remaking the games. The Nessa controversy confuses me because the Nessa thing just seems to be literally everyone was doing what they usually do with Nessa. You make lewd art and you talk and you have cosplayers and all that other shit. And then all of a sudden this skin color controversy comes up. Oh, I fixed her by making her a lighter shade of black. Or some people were getting real nitpicky about what shade of black you use for Nessa. And I'm like, and then I had some people talking about, see, this is why, talking about, the lack of black representation in Pokemon games. They've had black characters. Technically, Brock is the first black character we've had, and that was in Gen 1. But like Gen 5, I think really started pushing the different cultures, the different races in Pokemon. Like, do people forget about Lenora? Like, Lenora was black, had a green afro and everything. I don't understand this weird thing. Why Nessa? I think at this point people are just, and I think it's honestly just the time. We're in a more PC concerned culture now, so every little thing needs to set us off. And of course, with black characters, it becomes more of an issue of drawing her white. And then some people were triggering people by literally taking a monkey photo and drawing like Nessa's outfit on it. And people gotta understand, trolling is a bitch. Like, you're a racist. Nah, people just like to fuck with you. If I know I can do something race baiting, that's what I'm gonna do. Also, apparently you can't say fuck. Because fuck it's... Yeah, I'm about to say Olivia. There have been Iris. Fucking Iris. What is this? Like, people are acting like black characters are new for Pokemon. There have been consistent main black characters in Pokemon since, at the very least, Generation 5, which came out almost 10 years ago. And if we're talking like the beginning, then you had Brock, which was from the very beginning. But 10 years ago, think about that. Gen 5 was almost 10 years ago, and we got people sweating Nessa for some reason. It's not worth it, in my opinion. But yeah, I just want Pokemon to evolve as a franchise. Getting back to my core point. I want Pokemon to change and grow and develop as a franchise. And it can't do that with this over-obsession with shit that to me is like not that important. It's not that fucking important about having every Pokemon in the game. My concern has always been having a good game. And people are so caught up on this fucking National Dex fiasco and Megas not being in the game. You forget, I just want a good game. I just want a good game, yo. And I think they're making the right steps. Yeah, Marlin. You're thinking of Marlin. That was his Japanese name. I mean, English name. Or Marlin, who was introduced in Black 2, White 2. I just want a good game. And for me personally, like, this isn't it. Well, marketing is a problem. I mean, I think the Pokemon company in general is the core of the problem. That if you want a game that's like the alpha and the omega, that game, because think about it, like Zelda was, I think it was initially teased in 2013 or 14. I forget which. I want to say 14, but it might have been 13. That game was teased 2013, 14, and didn't come out until 2017. That game took 3 years and went from 2 different home consoles and became like this powerhouse of a game to the point now they were like, fuck it, we're using this engine and making a sequel. Pokemon probably switched from handheld development to console development probably in 2016, while also changing how they wanted to. And to me, those are 2 different types of development. Developing for a handheld and developing for a console are 2 different tiers. So I imagine it was probably a bigger struggle to go from 3DS style to go from 3DS style to Switch style. That's one of the reasons why I hate 3DS and Vita ports onto like home consoles, because you can tell that they were originally 3DS and Vita games because the design is so limited. And I think Pokemon, with the limited time they had, couldn't do what they wanted to do. And it's all due. Yeah, no one said shit about the Alpha Sapphire Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby stuff. This is what I'm saying. It's like, there was a lot of things that could have changed. It's hard because I'm trying to keep up with the chat and also talk. And Zelda took risks. Zelda tried to overflow the established franchise. And although fans were concerned, they also were willing to take that change. Pokemon fans don't want to fucking do that. And it's frustrating, yo. Because the game looks good. The game looks like it's going in the direction it needs to. And it's gonna, and it pisses me off that it's the Dex. It's the fucking Dex that's gonna kill it. That bums me the fuck out, yo. If the game looked like trash from jump, I probably wouldn't care as much. But man, that frustrates me, yo. Yeah, the difficulty. But see, when the fan base is tripping out over fucking the deck size and how much you can trade over, when that is the cause of alarm, and that's the thing everyone wants to hold on to, that just makes me think that they're gonna literally everyone's gonna be like, well, I guess they don't care about nothing else. They just want the fucking decks. They just want the full tier. Everything needs to be improved. But you listen, the decks is the thing I can take a hit on temporarily if the game's stories are good. But yeah, I agree. Pokemon needs a break. Even Square doesn't homogenize their games like this, yo. That's what I think trips me out the most. They're like, Square doesn't even do it to this degree. Like, Square re-releases their games, but they don't go through this full-on remaking shit. That needs to go away. I know people are going to be mad about that. I know people are going to be frustrated like, oh, what do you mean? But honestly, the remakes need to disappear. Because that's unnecessary development for shit that ain't that important. Like, I don't need a remake of Gen 4. Hell, I mean, I was excited for a remake of Gen 3 because Gen 3 was one of my favorite generations. But if you ain't even got the generation's basics down, giving me an update that's only half as good doesn't do much for me. That means they need to They need to hire more people also. That's the other thing. And I guess that's the other thing is that bringing up Pokemon Home is actually important too. People are sitting there talking about these heartfelt stories about how they used to their brother died and they still have their game and the Pokemon from their game, and it's like an emotional thing. And they want to be able to trade them into Sword and Shield. Now, you've already, in my opinion, I can understand that, but I can also say that, like, it's not like Pokemon isn't giving you something to trade. Like, it's not like you can't put them in home and have them sit in home. That's what frustrates me. Like, if they were giving you nothing and then also taking away 400 or 300 Pokemon, that's a little bit more understandable. But you're getting home. You're getting home to put all your Pokemon in. So they're not just stuck on a cartridge. Also, it seems like people are more offended for them to be stuck on like a cartridge than a goddamn cloud. I don't get that either. I'm just sick of this shit. Honestly, I'm sick of... I can understand people's comments about Game Freak being lazy. But I think they also need to recognize if they bought any of those games, they're part of the problem. If you bought Oris, you're part of the problem. Myself included. If you bought Gen 6, you're part of the problem. If you bought Gen 7, you're part of the problem. If you bought Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, you are part of the problem. We are all a part of the problem. The only difference between me and you, possibly, is that I can recognize it and understand what games to buy and not to buy. And that's the way I'm treating it from now on. That's why Let's Go didn't get bought. Because it wasn't a game it was a game, it was a pandering ass game. Hey KG. Let's Go was a pandering ass game. I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to transfer the Go audience to the console audience. I'm there's like 40 people in here watching. I'm surprised. I'm just so past people sitting here talking about how everything is screwed and gone to shit, but they don't acknowledge that they were part of the issues in the first place. You buying games that weren't up to snuff and then telling people and then not telling and then buying the next game, you are no better. Because why does a company want... It's the same thing that goes with Call of Duty, Madden, and NBA. What makes a company want to do better if they're still making money regardless? Kitty Gamer? Who's Kitty Gamer? People were mad in the first trailer talking about there aren't any Pokemon on the overworld. But a core game never had that anyway. Hey, what's up, Saiyan? But I think that's it for my rant so far. So if anyone has any questions that need to be addressed, then go ahead. Pokemon's still a fun-ass game. That's what makes me mad. Pokemon's a fun-ass game. Yeah, the games will still sell a million because the Twitter outrage, half the people complaining on Twitter will still buy the fucking games. That's what... Actually, I think that's the worst fucking part of everything. That after all this complaining and bitching... Oh, KG, that's funny. After all this complaining and bitching, a bunch of people will still buy the games. The models aren't up to snuff. The animations are weak. All it is, la-di-da-di fucking die. And then 20 minutes, and then like once November rolls around, hey guys, I'm doing my unboxing of the new Pokemon games. So you even on the damn bridge you chose to stand on, you didn't even stand on it. You just walked the fuck away. Yeah, that's what makes me mad too. Bring back the national decks. November 15th rolls around. Look at my unboxing, guys. Well, it's not, and people need to understand it's not going to be exactly like Breath of the Wild. Well, see, the thing with boycotting, though, is, I wouldn't say like the last, well, I guess that's debatable, actually. Oh God, KG's taking this full-on cat thing seriously. Change your Ike. Ruby needs to turn into a cat now. What was I saying though? Does it feel like the same thing as the past generations? In some ways, but not so much. Like, I fucking hated Gen 4. But people love Gen 4. And people love Gen 4 just because of the mechanical changes. The game itself was fucking garbage, in my opinion. It had some cool evolutions. And there are some Gen 4 Pokemon I like, but like the main game was a slow-ass mess. Even in Platinum, it was still a slow-ass, boring fucking mess. But that was also a combination of it was also a combination of how the game was designed. Yeah, the thumbnail's still banned it because I didn't change it. But let me go back to some of the other questions. Yeah, most people don't even catch all these Pokemon that they're complaining about, or trade over the Pokemon that they're complaining about. Oh yeah, but the boycotting, I don't. To me, it serves not much purpose because, like I said, a bunch of people are hypocrites. They'll still buy the game. Yeah, Gen 5 was a huge improvement. I think, to me, the drop-off... Gen 6 was a huge drop-off, yo. And that's partially due to the fact that Gen 5 was so good, but Gen 6 was a huge drop-off in quality. I think the region was boring as hell. There was a random gap in between the first and second gym. The game was painfully fucking easy. And Gen 7 tried to improve on difficulty and tried to change the game a little bit. I think Gen 7 was just limited by the hardware it was on. And that gets into another point, saying the other reason why I think the Pokemon company doesn't value the games as much as they should is that the games have become more and more of a financial detriment because they've gotten more and more expensive to make. The higher quality graphics makes them bigger risks. And they already don't make as much money as other Pokemon-based material, so it's kind of a lose-lose situation. Gen 6 third version wouldn't have fixed my issues with Gen 6. Gen 6 was just a... Gen 6 is a game that will... I'll put it this way. When we get to the later on remakes... Yeah, actually, like I said, yeah, KG, you're right. The main thing for Gen 6 was the fact that it was 3D. And you can tell that was the only thing they focused on. Because the Megas was broken and unbalanced. The region wasn't that interesting and had pacing issues. There was a bunch of redundant ass Pokemon. Riding Pokemon. It just, Well, see, and I think they can do the same. I think they should be allowed. Like I said, the Dex is the least painful thing to cut, and you see what people did. They flipped their shit. Like I said, if Sword and Shield ends up becoming a very good game, then I would say the cut of the Dex was worth it. If it doesn't, then Gamefreak just needs to get their shit together entirely. Yeah, I didn't even finish Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Yeah, that's the one thing I've noticed just from the footage of Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield looks like a vastly faster game, faster paced. And I'm perfectly cool with that. If the game becomes faster, it makes everything go by quick and nothing. That's the main thing for an RPG. RPGs are known for becoming boring and tedious, and people don't want to fucking deal with that all the time. So with that being noted, fast animations would be needed. So we can't do the thing that Battle Revolution did, where the Pokemon walked across the screen and did body slam, and they did the cool effect with the damn split screen and had to push down. That's a cool effect, but guess what? It's a slow ass animation. It drags. Battle Revolution dragged, yo. And I played that game for a ridiculous amount of time. And going back and looking at XD and Coliseum, those games drag with their animations. But that's not to say you can't make fast animations. I'm just saying those games drag. See, I like Sun and Moon. I think Gen 7, because Gen 7 tried something different. But see, I can respect Gen 7 for that. I think Gen 7's characters stick out way better than they do in Gen 6, which is crazy to me because I think Gen 6, unfortunately, has the better anime, which is crazy to me. Mom, don't come in here. Just keep going. Don't open the door. Yeah, people act like they haven't seen. That's the other thing that tripped me out. They act like they haven't been adding new animations. I think someone noticed on Twitter, Weavile has a new animation. They have added things and improved things on animations. But people are tripping out because it doesn't look like this huge jump. No, we're not getting the cameo today. Well, it's not going to feel as impactful as it did in Gen 6 because Gen 6 was the first game, even though I think Gen 6 is the worst. Fucking hate Gen 6, yo. Gen 6 is so... Yeah, if I can skip cutscenes, please, yo. Please, yo. I hope they even keep some of the... And I guess I haven't gone back and looked at some of the footage, like the menus and anything. I really hope they keep some of the features from Let's Go, like the fact that I can access my PC box anywhere. That's fucking great. There's so many things we still haven't seen from this game. It trips me out people are freaking out this quickly over it. It's not as Mama Day, it's just everything gets struck. It's a struggle. But hold on real quick. I'm actually getting a headache. Let me grab my Tylenol. Because I fucking need it. Oh my goodness. What's up, Laker Link? Oh, you mean the breakthrough animation? Oh, okay. The way Pokemon always did it in earlier games is that Pokemon did the thing where Pokemon did that thing where they would ask you, do you already know how to do this? And if you said no, if you said yes, I already know how to do this, it would just skip the tutorial. That's the way it used to do it. In the 3D games, you just got to put up with it, which is kind of dumb. But yeah, that kind of gets to my overall point. We still haven't seen a lot from Sword and Shield, which is actually part of the thing about Sword and Shield I think people were happy about, because the thing in fucking Gen 7 is that Gen 7 constantly showed you everything in the game. By the time Sun and Moon came out, you knew the majority of that game. There was like maybe a small portion you didn't know. But the majority of Generation 7 you knew because they showed it all in promotional footage. I think they went back to being more reserved with this new generation. But we're all tripping out about the deck, so I feel like a lot of Pokemon news is going to get overshadowed. I can only imagine what's going to happen when they show the next trailer. When they show the next trailer, it's going to be the same shit. I did play the original Gen 1. I played the original Gen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can go back and play Gen 1. That's not really an issue. It's kind of jarring, but I played, to be fair, I played Gen 1 when it was old. Like, I played Gen 2 first, then Gen 1. So I'm used to it. But, I think that's all I got to say. I think I'm already kind of... I don't know, man. I'm just kind of sick of it. I'm frustrated, yo. I mean, I like Gen 7. Gen 7 wasn't perfect, but I like Gen 7. I think Gen 7 went a lot to like re-add difficulty. I would say Gen 7 was more difficult than Gen 6. I just hope Gen 8 doesn't fall in that same bull of Gen 6 trying to pander. If I can get out of the pandering phase, because even Gen 7 did it to a degree. Gen 7 did it with the Alolan forms. But if I can get Gen 8, if Gen 8 can just move the fuck forward and let some of this shit go, then I think we'll be good. You said you're sending it on Discord. Where the hell's my phone? Ah! I've lost my phone, guys. Send super chats for the phone. The hell's... Oh, there it is. Revolver, no, you fool. You said fucking your comment. Let's see. I'm just gonna look at the video real quick. Hold on one sec. They've already changed the animation twice, actually. But remember, they're not doing anything. They're not doing any work. Anywho. Everyone's saying the F word and they're getting... But it's fine. It's fine. Also, the goddamn Charizard. I'm so sick of that fucking thing. Yeah, I think Gen 1 needs to be gone for like 10 years. And it will never happen. Never fucking happen. But I think that's it. I'm kind of burnt out now. I need to go lay down. So, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. This will be up for replay. Thank you for the $100. Juto, I believe is the name. Juto 2007. I really appreciate it. Oh, yeah. I guess I'll go ahead and mention it now. Follow me on Twitter if you're not. That's Twitter at The Game Manic is my actual Twitter handle. Twitch, it's Twitch at The Insane Game Freak. I stream primarily on Saturday nights, around 8 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. That's when it starts, around 8 to 9. I'm trying to think. Patreon's in the description. So all those things, focus on. I need to start mentioning those in videos, but I don't like to feel like a shell. But damn it. Look in there. There's this stuff in the description. So follow me on Twitch and then follow me on Twitter. Those are like the two main things right now. Patreon, that's if you want to. But the two main things are Twitch and Twitter. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, because fuck YouTube. And now this video is demonetized. It's crazy. Wow, Jazz, you fucking... I see this is what we're doing. You put trailer for Twitch. You put trailer for Twitch. What does that mean, static? But anyways, with all that being said, I'm out of here. Life's a game. Play to win. And I will catch you guys later. Peace. Aw. Where's the button? Where's the god? Click the goddamn button. Click the goddamn button.